Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. We're at 4541 Southeast 51st Avenue here in Portland, located at the front of the house. We are just off to the right of the doorway. The cleanout sits right next to the water shutoff. At least I'm assuming that's what's underneath the concrete lid there. Typically what it is. We're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Waters are running. We're going to zero out here at the base of the cleanout. And off we go. That is a superbly clean flow line. Right now, my camera's kind of upside down right now. The flow line's kind of at the top of the screen. That thing is spotless clean. That is precisely how you want your line to look. And that is, unless the line just got hydrojetted, you can keep a line this clean. It does, I mean, these people are going out of their way to not put cooking oil and grease down the line. This is a very anal household. I don't necessarily expect anyone's line to be this clean, but it is all made possible, by and large, by not putting fats, greases, and oils down your line. And I do highly recommend keeping that habit up. It is after doing as many scopes, I have almost 25,000 at this point, and a lot of drain cleaning over the years. Grease buildup is a very common contributor to blockages. So we just swapped a clay pipe there. I'm sure you're wondering, why is it clay pipe? We've got a newer house here. Not a terribly uncommon thing to see where they knock a house flat, put a new one back in its place. I will locate that transition, but this is the original stub for whatever home used to be here. And typically speaking, the clay pipe will start generally at the end of homeowner responsibility, but I'll try and locate and verify that. Be aware on this one, it's a little harder to gauge the exact break of responsibility. Most parts of town in Portland, it's from curb to curb, face of the curb to face of curb. Out here, we don't have a traditional sidewalk and curb to go off of. So I'll locate, I'll probably put a marking down, but if it seems a little too far off, I may recommend you look into it and send a photo to the city to see if they can indicate to you whether or not any of the clay pipe still remains on property or not. We shall see here, though. That's the main there. We're going to go locate all the pipe drains. All right, we're going to pull back to the start of the clay. I'm picking up a signal out in the road. It's kind of a weak signal, but it's also lining up with the patch. There's a little bit of a patch in the road. I'm going to pull back in here, though. It could just be a deep sewer line. All right, there it looks like you have a little bit of a crack in the sidewall. The clay pipe flows well, so not much an issue as it relates to blockages occurring, but you do have a couple condition issues there in the clay pipe, but overall flows very nicely at least. All right, locates are still coming in a little bit jumpy. There's a lot of overhead power lines directly over where I'm locating right now, which is not helping. So what I'm going to do here, the signal came in reasonably well. I'm going to pull back about 2 feet, and if my signal moves 2 feet with it, I know I'm probably on the money, but it's one of those where it's not coming in quite strong enough for me to feel super confident about the pinpoint location. Yeah, my signal is moving. I've moved back here about 2 feet. And that's, yeah, you're about approximately anyway. My locate's coming in just like it is on camera here. And the reason I do that when it gets a little questionable, sometimes these cameras or the locator wands can latch on to interference, like power lines can sometimes put off interference that mimics a signal similar to what comes off the camera head. However, when you move the camera around like that, the locate, if you're picking up on power lines, won't move. It'll be in the same spot every single time. So my locate there feels reasonably accurate. I did put a green line down. That's right where I'm picking the locate up for the transition, which is a decent distance from the road edge. And by the way, all the water you're looking at right now, this is all flowing water. None of this is standing. Something in the house is trickling off. But that locate's coming in there a decent distance from the street edge. However, the street is very skinny. As it sits right now, it hardly even looks like a 2-lane road. So this is one of those trickier ones for me to eyeball and tell you with certainty that clay pipe is in city responsibility. It's far enough from the road edge that I'm not positive, but if this road were to be a full width 2-lane road, where that locate comes in wouldn't surprise me if it were about where the curb is at. So this is a trickier one to tell you with certainty. So I'll notate that on the report. I would at least contact the city and find out approximately out here where that transition of responsibility is. And I'll go home and review the video a little bit, take a better look at it. The clay pipe has really good flow through it. So at most right now, what I might be recommending of the clay, or how it be updated, I mean, it would be an epoxy liner type scenario. You could always dig it, but it is epoxy liner candidate status because it has good flow. But there was at least a crack there in the pipe, not a massive one. But anyway, that's stuff that would only be, I would be recommending if I knew any of that clay pipe were in responsibility. But again, nothing going on in the clay pipe right now is affecting functionality or flow anyways, but I do have to take account for pipe that is exposed to the ground too. The line needs to do 2 things: convey sewage from A to B and also be closed off from the ground. For environmental purposes, you know, hydro erosion issues, things like that. But from a pure flow standpoint, great flow all the way out to the main lateral. All the updated pipe is in good condition. The whole line is absolutely spotless clean. So functioning properly at this time in every regard. And the plastic pipe, the clay pipe is conveying stuff just fine. But looks like we have some level of exposure to the ground there. So that's worth looking into from the city's standpoint, see where responsibility lies here and know if any of that clay falls into your responsibility. If so, I would recommend updating on it. You know, stuff you could either dig up or do epoxy lining on. I would be going for a trenchless route, you know, assuming it saves money, if that should even be necessary.